I don't know who's more excited about this evening, the awardee for this Champion of Hope Award in Science, or myself, because I've had the good fortune of observing Dr. Catherine Rowland for many years as she's moved up through her career, and it's been unbelievable to watch and so rewarding. So congratulations before we get to the awards ceremony. So I have some good things to say, some really, really good things, because it reflects what I think most of the researchers in rare diseases possess, and that's extraordinary talent and persistence. As we know, the rare diseases are not always in great favor, do not receive a tremendous amount of funding many times, and the opportunities that are presented must be followed by careful screening of funding sources and looking for sources, looking for funds, looking for research opportunities. And Kate has been an unbelievably successful individual in doing this. Kate coined the term RASopathies. It's a group of medical genetic syndromes that are caused by small genetic mutations in a very important clinical pathway that's present in every single cell of every single one of our cells. It's known as the RAS pathway. And there are mutations that can just spontaneously happen. It's no one's fault. Nothing is done during pregnancy, but they just happen. And about 1 in 1,000 individuals are born with a genetic change in this very important pathway. These disorders include NF1, neurofibromatosis 1, Noonan syndromes, CFC, cardiofacial syndrome, Costello, and SWML, and Leigh syndromes. Dr. Round came up with the term RASopathies, but the community was included in the naming decision. They were able to have a voice and a vote on the name that would be used to describe their syndromes collectively. And I can recall one of the first scientific symposium that Kate put together, and it was all based around the patient support groups, the organizations, to bring the collaboration together between the scientist and the patient, something that the rare disease community has fostered and adhered to today for real success in the rare diseases. And rather than just having a scientific symposium, the first RASopathy symposium was held in 2009, including all of the patient support groups that were discussed. This was done so that patients could be part of the scientific meetings, and the scientists could spend more time with the families for which they were studying and conducting research. Letting the patients and the patient families have a seat at the table helps both groups to see where research is most needed and wanted. The patients and families inspired the researchers and gave more meaning to the work they usually do behind the bench. At University of California, San Francisco, Dr. Round led a research team that discovered the genetic cause of cardiofacial cutaneous syndrome, CFC, as I mentioned, one of the RASopathies. CFC is a genetic disorder that affects many parts of the body, particularly the heart, facial features, skin, and hair. Kate has maintained an unbelievable relationship with the community, and the community includes the patients, the families, and the researchers throughout the country and throughout the world. She serves on the medical advisory board of CFC International and the RASopathies Network USA, and is co-director of the Costello Syndrome Family Network. So working with the organization requires considerable effort, and she has done this tirelessly. So Kate, thank you very much for this contribution. Dr. Round is internationally known for her pioneering work in an array comparative genomic hybridization, CGH, a technique to analyze genes. Dr. Round received from President Obama the 2013 Presidential Early Career Award for Scientists and Engineers, the highest honor. Excuse me, Kate, this is really outstanding. The highest honor bestowed by the United States government on science and engineering professionals in the early stages of research careers. She is one of only 102 scientists nationwide to receive the honor. Dr. Round was honored for her studies on the role of germline mutations in the RAS-MAPK pathway on skeletal myogenesis. When I first heard that there was this group of individuals being honored, my first thought was Kate Rowland should be on this list, and if she's not this year, she should be next year or whenever they could become eligible to participate. And Kate, I was so happy to see your name, and I thought, no one deserved that more. So outstanding. Dr. Rounds started the first comprehensive rhinopathies pathway genetic clinic at the UC San Francisco Medical Center in 2007 and is now expanding the clinic to the University of California at Davis. She is creating collaborative work between these two institutions to better serve our rhinopathies community. And I think what we see is love of the patients and the family and the other researchers. Kate, this is so well deserved, so congratulations.
Steve, thank you so much for that introduction. I can't think of anybody else that I would have loved to have that done for. So thank you very, very much. And I am truly honored here to stand before you to receive this prestigious award. And I really want to thank Lisa Schill from Rhinopathies Network USA for this gracious nomination, and the team at Global Genes for bestowing upon me such an honor. Working with advocacy groups of rare disorders for almost 15 years now is so intertwined in my activities of daily living that these groups and individuals are not just a part of my job, they really have become a part of my life, and we are truly connected. And the journey began in 2000 with a very small, obscure publication on a very rare disorder, cardiofaciocutaneous syndrome. And this was when I was a first-year adjunct professor at UCSF. Brenda Conger and Molly Santa Cruz, they were the advocacy leaders of CFC International and had parents of children with CFC, reached out to me to learn more about my work in medical genetics and my interest in studying CFC. And after very long phone conversations with both of them, they wanted to know if there was something that they could do to help. My interest in CFC led to my interest in Costello syndrome, another very rare genetic syndrome, and that led me to meet Lisa Scheuer. And Lisa Scheuer at the time was the parent leader for the Costello Syndrome Family Network. I was absolutely fascinated with both Costello syndrome and CFC, and these two syndromes were so similar, yet they were so different. Lisa Scheuer was the one who actually invited me to the 2001 Costello Syndrome Family Network meeting in Toronto to present my research. And it was really this meeting that changed my life. The kids and the families and the spirit of helping one another. I was now truly motivated more than ever to find the genetic cause for Costello syndrome and for CFC. Working with advocacy groups and allowed a small clinical cohort study when I only had about 5 or 6 samples, just by working with advocacy groups, that allowed my study sample to grow to over 30 to 40 samples. And it was Brenda Conger, president of CFC International, who had the foresight to create a biobank of patients and had DNA samples. So when we went to publish the gene discovery, there was no question in my mind of including Brenda and Molly as co-authors. In fact, they graciously said, "No, Kate, you really don't need to add us on the paper," and I absolutely insisted. And unbeknownst to me, little did we know that we were actually part of history, and that we were only the 3rd publication to include advocacy leaders as part of a scientific gene discovery. And since that time, we started out as rare unrelated syndromes, and what has now then unfolded into an amazing story with CFC and Costello being cousin syndromes and also sharing kinship, as Steve had said, with Noonan syndrome and NF1 and capillary malformation, Leach's syndrome. And all of these were identified to be perhaps part of the most studied and well-defined and most important cancer signaling pathway. And when it's dysregulated, it causes cancer. This is the RAS-MAPK pathway. And so these rare syndromes that are actually not that rare at all are syndromes that are part of a collective that we now call the rasopathies. And these rasopathies actually do impact anyone who has had cancer, again, not so rare. So what we learn from the rasopathies and how we treat them will contribute to the study of cancer. So we really are all connected. CFC International, the Costello Syndrome Family Network, the International Group of Costello Syndrome, NF Inc., the Noonan Syndrome Support Group, and of course the Rasopathies Network USA. So we will remain on this journey together as we move forward towards treatment, and that truly is our hope. And I share this award with all of you. And Bill, I promised I wasn't going to cry, but Bill, my husband, really, thank you for all of your continued help and support, and I am glad we've taken this very long journey together. Lisa, I want to once again thank you for this nomination. You really have brought me full circle. I was born just down the street at Hoag Hospital. I grew up in Laguna, Newport Beach, I learned how to surf just across the street, went to medical school at Irvine, and actually knew the greeter at Laguna Beach before he became a statue. And I actually can't imagine being in a better place to receive this very, very prestigious award. Thank you.